My name is Maurice Andati. I'm the founder of an organization known as Smart Talk Cafe. Smart Talk Cafe is a sustainable development consultancy working in East Africa, specifically with young people at the community level. Smart Talk Cafe was founded in 2018 with a key focus specifically on working with young people at community to make sure that they can be the drivers of change using the different avenues, if it is training, if it is coming up with programs, but sustainable solutions to their specific communities.
Wherever there is poverty, conflict, and gender inequality, women's and girls' lives are at risk for exploitation. Human trafficking is a heinous crime that shatters lives, families, and dreams. The Africa Center for Strategic Studies has previously reported that human trafficking is a $13.1 billion annual enterprise in Africa. The majority of internal trafficking victims are believed to be children for the purposes of both labor and sexual exploitation. Internal child trafficking is often facilitated through familial networks under the pretense of domestic work. Hotels have especially been linked with facilitating sexual exploitation, notably through sex tourism, and the research shows that girls have been trafficked from Congolese refugee camps to nearby cities within Rwanda.
Since its inception, Smart Talk Cafe has been working in the East African community, and our key focus has been in Kenya, first of all, where we have been running since the inception. Then other countries that we brought on board was Uganda and also Rwanda, where we have different programs and projects that are at community level, and we are working with young people in all these countries so that they can also come together in terms of creation of solutions based on the target areas that we are working under. Through our various engagements, one of the key programs that we are working on and engaging is specifically under organized crime. And under organized crime, the key specific area that we're engaging in is under human trafficking. And this is because when you look at the numbers when it comes to human trafficking, which is, well, let's say it is modern slavery, and it is something that has been going on as much as different organizations, different individuals have tried to create solutions to them. However, because we are targeting specifically East Africa and it is something that has been underground, it has not been talked so much about. People really do not have the right information or know the right information. So it has gotten the roots and grown specifically here in East Africa. That is why we have been key on making sure that we do advocacy, we create solutions in different communities in East Africa to make sure that, number one, people understand what human trafficking is. Number two, identify those who are perpetrators of human trafficking. Then number three, how are they going to cover themselves to make sure that they do not fall prey to issues to do with human trafficking. Through our engagement specifically on organized crime, looking specifically on human trafficking, through research and also meeting different people who have been affected issues to do with human trafficking, and also the data that has been collected by different organizations, the two key areas that we identified as a very huge problem is specifically sex trafficking and labor trafficking. For sex trafficking, we identified its impact is really high on both genders, but now with women having the highest number, specifically for those who have been affected. And this is either internally inside the countries and also externally when it comes to outside these specific countries, and it has become a very huge problem. Under labor trafficking, the highest number of people who have been engaged under labor trafficking specifically are those who are moving outside the East African communities, and it has really impacted so many people, and that is why we tended to engage specifically and focus specifically on issues to do with the labor trafficking and sex trafficking. Another reason why we really engaged in this is because the target community that we are looking into, and that is Rwanda, where the information specifically at community is not that well. When also comes to the kind of systems that have been created, the government has created really good systems to help in terms of curbing issues to do with trafficking. However, the numbers still tend to increase, specifically it being a country that is a transit country, and also individuals or Rwandese themselves coming to other East African countries and then being trafficked outside to either Arab countries and also the South African countries. And due to this is where we are engaging in these two key areas when it comes to research, when it comes to advocacy, making sure these people understand what is human trafficking, and also linking community, government, and organization to make sure that they understand issues of these two key main problems that are affecting young people here in East Africa, specifically when it comes to human trafficking.
It was found out that majority of the people who fall victims of human trafficking are those who do not have jobs. This was echoed by 91.7% of the respondents. Victims face labor and sexual trafficking after being tricked in obtaining good jobs. 97.7% of the respondents state that fresh graduates from universities in Rwanda and unskilled people who are jobless are among those people who easily convinced to take up jobs outside the country and are later exploited. In a similar stance, Rwanda is confronted with the youth bulge and associated poverty. This kind of situation is aggravated by continued rapid population and the slackening of economic growth due to underperformance of the agriculture sector, which is the main employer.
Through research done by various stakeholders when it comes to human trafficking here in Rwanda, it was identified that family members are key perpetrators, and this is due to issues like high levels of poverty among communities in Rwanda. And when it comes to people being trafficked outside the country, that is citizens who are Rwandese, and also refugees who are having or transiting across Rwanda, due to the fact that they are going to look for work in these other countries and they do not have knowledge enough to know what are the things that they need to have, which are the key areas of engagement, specifically if they're going to work abroad. Recruitment agencies and also individuals who are in the human trafficking sector take advantage, and this creates a leeway for them to be trafficked every single time they come to Kenya.
A central assumption in the anti-trafficking field is that the general public still lacks sufficient knowledge about human trafficking, and that creating more knowledge and awareness will lead to its reduction. However, there neither exists a common understanding of who should know what in order to achieve this goal, nor is there sufficient information available about the awareness of the general public, for especially the impact of this awareness.
Due to the lack of knowledge, as we had identified under the survey, it has created an avenue for now citizens, if they're going outside the country to look for work, it is easier for them to be trafficked. When it comes to refugees, it is also easier for them to be trafficked, even if it is inside the country or outside the country. So the information at community level is at low, and people really do not understand and really don't know any forms of human trafficking and how they can find themselves in an issue where they have been trafficked, either internally or externally. When it comes to the knowledge and information for government officials, through the research that was done, the different stakeholders in Rwanda when it comes to human trafficking and knowledge of human trafficking, there was a little bit also of low knowledge when it comes to community heads, if there is Omudugudu, also government officials, especially in the labor sector, and also those who are involved in the migration sector. There's a low information when it comes to them knowing what is human trafficking and how it should be done. Another group that we also looked into was health workers, community health workers, and also hospitals. There was also little to no knowledge when it comes to human trafficking. Now, putting out a leeway where those who have been trafficked are not able to get the right services when they come, if it is sex trafficking due to issues to do with rape and all that, and also labor trafficking, and if they were issues of health that they got when they went to do work or when they went outside the country, bringing out an issue of low information and low knowledge when it comes to human trafficking in Rwanda.
Now you might be wondering what makes someone vulnerable to human and sex trafficking. What are the root cause of human and sex trafficking? War, civil unrest, political conflict, violence, lawlessness, and natural disasters create unstable conditions in which people may live in constant fear with limited options for survival or earning a living. There is clearly not one single cause for human trafficking, and various factors work in concert, contributing to a climate conducive to human trafficking.
So when it comes to root causes, when it comes to human trafficking, especially here in Rwanda, through the research that was done with the different stakeholders, we came to identify that poverty was one of the key underlying problems. Number two, lack of knowledge when it comes to community members, and also lack of knowledge when it comes to the government officials who are at community, like Mudugudu and all that. So these were the key root causes that were pushing for issues to do with human trafficking here in Rwanda, specifically for the citizens, and also with these when they move to other countries when they're looking for work because of lack of knowledge, and also their desperation when it comes to moving away from poverty and getting work, and also meeting their families and all that, has created an environment where now human trafficking is taking root, making sure that it is increasing. That's why even the numbers have been increasing when it comes to East Africa, when it comes to trafficking of people.
Rwanda cannot operate in isolation against human trafficking and needs to secure full cooperation and coordination of regional countries in matters of prevention of human trafficking, prosecution of traffickers, and protection of victims of human trafficking.
When it comes to the solution that we want to engage the communities, the government, and the different organizations when it comes to human trafficking, Smart Talk Cafe is going to engage in number one, advocacy, making sure that community members understand what is human trafficking. Also advocacy also at government level and also at private sector level, so that now there is information and knowledge when it comes to labor trafficking and sex trafficking. What are the kind of solutions that government and also different institutions now talking about different toolkits that give ministries when it comes to international organizations? Which are the toolkits do they have that is going to help when it comes to those who have been affected with human trafficking? And number two, the communities that are vulnerable when it comes to human trafficking, how do we make sure that they know how they can prevent and how they can help themselves? Then also looking into synergy when it comes to communities, government, private sector. How do they come together? How do they create synergy with the different toolkits, with the different solutions, so that now the community members are able to, number one, share their stories when it comes to human trafficking. Number two, be open that there are areas where they can get solutions when it comes to health, when it comes to their health, when it comes to their security, when it comes to all specific areas. Then lastly, looking for a way how we can work hand in hand, Rwanda, Uganda, and also Kenya, to create an avenue where it can protect its citizens when it comes to trafficking, making sure we are also giving the voice to those who have been affected, so that now we can stop people who are engaging when it comes to trafficking, but also create safe spaces for those who have been trafficked and have been affected. To make this work, to make when it comes to advocacy, when it comes to people, the knowledge on human trafficking to be known, Smart Talk Cafe is working together with the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime under the Resilience Fund, so that now we can make sure that we are creating solutions when it comes to human trafficking. When in Rwanda, making sure that now people are able to speak, people are able to be protected, the government is able to create systems so that now it can help in terms of prevention of human trafficking here in Rwanda. And for people who really want to reach out to us, you can find us on social media, Smart Talk Cafe. When it comes to all social media, Smart Talk Cafe. When it comes to email, info@smarttalkcafe.or.ke. Then also the number that you can reach out to us is 0791697290. So where we can have conversations, you can reach out to us, we can help, so that now we can also be not only the community members who are affected, but also organizations who want to come together sit with us on the same table in order to create solutions and also help people who have been affected when it comes to human trafficking, and making this conversation hard when it comes to Africa as a whole.
Attacking trafficking networks is essential in order to reduce demand and supply of victims of human trafficking. Economic aid should be directed to poverty alleviation programs in countries that are so poor. Once the economic aid is acquired, it will be sunk in the economy to boost growth and creation of employment opportunities, thus reducing vulnerabilities that breed human trafficking.